down in the den, so go tell a friend. The best podcast on earth's about to begin. We got jokes and news and movie reviews. After Dark NC-17 with the crew. Interviews with the best artists around. So like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Welcome to Down in the Den. It's your boy Marz, man, and I am so excited today because I'm talking about something that's near and dear to my heart. And I got somebody with me today that is probably one of the few people that is more knowledgeable than me when it comes to this Marvel universe. My man, the bodacious Black Bat, aka Triple B. He is a Marvel fanatic. Man, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you. And thank you for that intro right there, man.
Hey, man, you're more than welcome, man. We've known each other online for probably close to a decade in our mutual love of
Very
Marvel.
close.
Yeah, our mutual love. So I am happy to have him here in the flesh, kind of, to talk about what's going on. So you guys, if you've been listening to the show, you know I've always done reviews of all the Marvel shows, all the Disney Plus shows. But I saved the last 3 episodes of Loki for a specific reason, because I wanted to have somebody with me that I knew really loved the Marvel universe. And so we're going to do it. But before we get into Loki, let's talk about the recently released Black Widow. Now, you've checked it out, correct?
I'm ready. Let's get
Yes,
into
sir.
it.
So let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. This Marvel movie was supposed to come out May 2020, and obviously with the pandemic, we had a whole almost 2 years without Marvel. So did you see it in the movies, or did you do the Disney Plus?
I did the Disney Plus. I debated about going to the theater, but I don't know if I'm ready yet for
Not for Black Widow. I would go for Black Panther.
Shang-Chi maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, I'm ready for Shang-Chi. I'm a big fan. I'm probably one of the only huge Shang-Chi fans. So
no, I love Shang-Chi, and yeah, I'm definitely going for that. But with the delay of Black Widow and it being so grounded, and to me, the stakes weren't there because we know how she dies,
yeah.
And that's one thing about
we were robbed. We were robbed of any stakes because they should have put Black Widow in between Endgame, or not Endgame, but Infinity War and Endgame.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Instead of shoehorning in Captain Marvel. I almost call her Karen Marvel.
She's kind of Karen Marvel. She's by far my least favorite
Karen vibe, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So let's get into good, man. What did you think was good about Black Widow?
I thought, even though they made a running joke kind of out of Red Guardian, I mean, David Harbour just nailed it. I mean, his performance was amazing. He was a scene stealer, in my opinion.
Indeed. And chef's kiss. Absolutely.
I love the intro. The intro was strong. I mean, they established the core of the film, which was family from the very beginning. And I loved it. It almost felt like a Cold War setting, even though it was like the early mid-90s, maybe. Yeah. But it had those Cold War vibes, kind of. ScarJo nailed it. I thought Florence Pugh was. I mean, she was the standout performance for me.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought she was excellent as Yelena Belova.
I agree. I think the whole cast, except for the villains, it went back to the Phase 1 trope of having weak villains.
Yeah.
But yeah, David Harbour's Red Guardian was awesome. I pray we have more of him. I could even see, them doing a Disney Plus show down the line when Stranger Things off the air. He's hilarious. He's a physical actor, but he's a talented actor. He kind of reminds me of Batista, where he can play a big menacing guy, but he can play it with heart and where
with a heart of gold.
A heart of gold. So I love, and his lying. Was he lying? Do you think he was lying when he said he fought Captain America in the 80s, or do you think it could have been variant Cap from going back and dropping off those Infinity Stones?
See, I don't think they seeded that in there for no reason.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I
Because
agree.
I, like you said, at that time, I want to say he was talking about like the late '80s, maybe, because
Yeah, he said
he was
84.
inactive in the '90s because he was on that spy mission.
Right,
So there was no way that our Cap was out of the ice yet.
right.
So I'm thinking it had to be um, '70s, '80s, like one of those where Cap like returned to Stone or something.
I agree. I don't think Marvel plants seeds without planning on growing those seeds. Now, those seeds may be 10 years down the line. I know Kevin
Yeah,
Feige,
yeah.
they said he has a plan up to like 2033 or something. So God knows what's in store, but I definitely think there's something there. Now, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think the cast was awesome. I think
Ensemble in an ensemble cast, man.
excellent, excellent. And ScarJo was a producer on that. So Kevin
Oh,
Feige was
she was
re-
executive, one of
she
the
was the
producers,
executive
wasn't she?
producer. And Kevin Feige said, she chose to bring that ensemble and elevate them because she really could have just made it all about her. And I
Oh
think she
yeah,
did an excellent
easily.
job world building. Now, what do you think about the bad of the
Oh
movie? Because there
wow.
was definitely some flaws, in my opinion.
Um, I felt like the third act was kind of sloppy. I mean, it had the Marvel formula, so that keeps it from being, you know, mediocre, I guess. But I just felt like the third act was kind of sloppy. The pheromone thing with the main villain, it was really weird and kind of just, I won't say jarring, but it was just kind of corny. And I thought to myself, well, stop breathing and just shoot him. Like
Just
hold your breath for like 2 seconds. Or
yeah,
I don't
just
know if it's like once you sniffed it, I guess it's in your body and it like it's permanent, or you're in the vicinity, or I don't know.
well, I know. I think the character was Melina, her mother figure. I know she
Yeah,
said that you could
She's Iron Maiden in the comics,
right. She's Iron Maiden in the
so
comics,
that's why she was kind of like a quasi villain. I feel
yeah,
like.
and she said you could only sever the nose. Like, because remember, Black Widow said, "Hey, can I just hold my breath?" And she was like, "No, not good enough. You have to actually
The
sever
nerve.
the
Yeah,
nerve." But
that
even
feels weird.
and the thing she said that all of the Black Widows, even her, had
Hmm.
it. But at the end, Yelena blew up the helicopter that he was in. She shouldn't have been able to do that. You know what I mean? So it was just like that didn't make sense
Well,
to me.
that's what I'm saying. Since they were saying it was based on pheromones and you had to smell it, I feel like you had to be in the like immediate vicinity, and then it takes time for it to like wear off.
I mean,
That's the only way it makes sense to me.
yeah, she took a hell of a risk. That you
He
just
could just
trusted.
kill her, boom, on the
Yeah,
spot.
yeah. I also thought, besides the whole villain being a little weak with Dracoff,
He
just kind
didn't
of
get
being
enough screen time either, in my opinion.
no. We've heard about Dracoff's daughter since the Avengers in
Yeah.
2012, and for him to just have that little bit of screen time, if anything, Melina was more of a villain than he was because she was actually
She
designing the
developed what gave him his power.
everything. So I'm
And then
like,
she kind of got to like skate away with no consequences, kind of like Wanda did at the end of WandaVision,
let me
which
tell you, I was
Melina did way worse than what she did, in my
way
opinion.
worse. I mean, it was child trafficking. It
Yeah.
was, and we know obviously Marvel's not going to touch on it, but we know that the Red Room picked these young girls not only because he felt that girls were an endless resource, but they were using them for sex missions and things of that nature. So
Oh yeah, they were. I mean, it's kind of the whole Red Room is based on kind of like Soviet era
yeah,
espionage stuff, and you had the whole ballerinas and actresses and different things
hmm
that were actually spies or assassins or whatever. So they were having them doing all kinds of underhand stuff,
yeah. I mean,
man.
if even if you
Dark stuff.
remember in the first Avengers, when we go on to Black Widow, she's in a mini skirt with the pumps tied up. How do you think she got there? They probably, she used her feminine charms, and that was working with Shield. So yeah. Now the ugly, and I think we're going to be in the same place with
Yeah.
this. What do you think about the ugly of that movie?
The ugly for me was not just the Taskmaster reveal and the unnecessary gender swap, in my opinion, because the gender swap really wouldn't be that much of a big deal if they nailed the character.
Right.
If
Right.
you nail the character, people are going to ignore that.
Yeah.
I think, in my
Absolutely.
mind.
I think a lot of fanboys, such as ourselves, we get a lot of people think, oh, if they change the race, if they change this, change. If it's done well, we don't mind.
If
It's
it elevates the character in the story, then that's great.
that's
I'm
great.
all for it.
Nobody complained when they made Nick Fury black because they
No, they
elevated
didn't.
it and they made it great. And nobody complained when they made there's been a couple of swaps. Some of them I didn't like, of course, Captain Marvel, which is my least favorite Marvel movie. When they
Yeah.
swapped Marvel, I didn't like that.
But I had the same problem with that. It wasn't the fact that they made Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, a woman. It was the fact that they made her a weak. I mean, she should have had like at least some kind of powers or something.
Something. She was
And she
definitely.
didn't get much screen time either. I thought, man, they gave the original Marvel the shaft. That's how I felt.
I agree. I
That's
agree.
just my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right, and I'm the same with you. Like Taskmaster is one of my favorite villains, or anti-hero, whatever he is. I guess he's not really a villain. Yeah, I agree. Taskmaster is one of my favorite characters. I was looking forward to having them interact with Deadpool eventually and doing that relationship, and they essentially made it a Terminator. I'm like, you could have just Dreykov could have had an android if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, I had a big problem with that. It wasn't it was I mean that's what made the reveal more jarring for me is that the whole time Taskmaster was like you said a mindless like drone. I mean she literally had three speaking lines and I can't I it's hard for me to pronounce her name Andrea
It's Olga,
Korolenko or something.
yeah,
Olga, yeah,
Olga
it's a
Linko or something.
Russian name,
Yeah, the
but
only
she's
Russian
yeah.
in the
That's
movie.
what gets me. Taskmaster is not a Russian. You got all these Americans or whoever British playing Russians, and then the one Russian person in the actress in the movie gets
Three,
three speaking lines.
is he gone?
That's
I was
it.
like,
I was
wow,
like, oh man, they did her wrong, man. Because
dirty.
she's a good actress.
She is. She's very good. She was in a couple of Bond movies and things of that
Yeah.
nature.
Oh yeah.
Really talented, beautiful young lady, and that
And
head is
she is. You're right. She is gorgeous,
she's
actually. Which
gorgeous. She would have been a good another black. She could have literally just been, and we've seen Marvel do it with Ironmonger, with Killmonger, with
mhm.
Ant-Man. Usually, the villain in the first movie is a carbon copy version, the evil version. They could have just put Olga as Dreykov's daughter, who was just motivated by almost being killed, and just make her another Black Widow. It didn't have to be
Yeah,
Taskmaster at all.
or swap and make her Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Or make Taskmaster like just a mercenary that she hired to get vengeance on it.
Or have Taskmaster, the real Taskmaster, train her.
Right. Like he designed the suit. And he could be like, yeah, I stole this tech, this Iron Man
Hmm.
tech, and I designed this suit. I can do it naturally. But this suit is gonna be the next thing if all these Black Widows have this anything.
That would have been amazing.
Anything they should have called us.
Wow, man!
Any of
I
that
want to see your version of the movie.
Yo, man, I literally when I see those movies, I take notes and I'm like, oh man, I would have done this, I would have done that. It would have been so much better. But enough of Black Widow. Overall, I still like the movie. I give it about a
Oh
7 out of
yeah,
10.
I liked it more. I would say I liked it just as much, if not more, than Captain Marvel.
I like it
I
way
liked it.
more. Yeah. So with me, it's been what 24 Marvel movies. and I
Hmm.
usually have them in the 3 tiers. Like we have
Oh,
the
okay.
like for me, I have the flawless one. So we have like Black Panther, the first
Oh yeah.
Avengers, the first Iron Man, Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
um, uh, Endgame, Infinity War, especially Infinity
Hmm.
War. Those are like my flawless movies, like perfect Marvel movies. And then I have my
Hmm.
like really good like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2, Ragnarok, um, a couple more. And then I have the ones that I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
uh, like Thor: The Dark World, Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Oh,
Man,
Captain
well, I
Marvel.
like Ant-Man, but most people would put Ant-Man in that category as
I
well.
like Ant Man. I would put Ant Man in the middle grade category for me, both Ant Man
Hmm.
1 and 2. I had no problem with Ant Man. Like Luis alone, I could watch a spinoff of
Yeah,
him just
I could
telling
watch a
stories.
whole show. This,
A
this
show of
him
him
running.
just
What was that little security? It was a security company.
not no, I'm thinking of Friday. I'm about to say Top Flight Security.
Yeah, well, they was like top
They
flight
essentially
security. Him
were.
and
They were
Ti
essentially. Oh man,
and the Russian dude.
if Sony doesn't hire Mike Epps, since I know Ti won't be in Ant Man
Oh,
3,
that sucks. He was great.
he was great. But you know the
Yeah,
charges. You know Marvel has to. But I
they
would
got to get
love.
ahead of that.
Yeah, I would love someone like Mike Epps to, step in the role or something like that. He would be hilarious working with Scott Lang and everything. So let's move on to Loki, man.
Oh
Oh,
man,
oh
I'm
man,
ready.
I
I'm
waited
ready to go down the rabbit hole, man.
I literally was up at 3:30 a.m. every
Okay,
morning, every Tuesday, well, technically Wednesday morning when it came out to watch it. And then I would watch it again on my lunch break. And then I would watch it again at night. So I was watching one
that's
episode
awesome.
3 times in one day. I love the show. By far my favorite Disney Plus show of the
Oh,
three.
easy, hands down,
I don't think
no
anybody
contest.
will debate that. I think we can say that's established fact in law. I think right now for me it's Loki, WandaVision, Falcon, and the Winter Soldier in that order. But let's talk about it. The good. What do you think was good about the show? It is almost endless, but let's talk about the good.
Um, I know some people are always looking for that the action and an explosion every 5 minutes or something, but it had the action, but it, the action in Loki always had a purpose. Like it was always seemed like to be pushing the story forward. And man, the writing was so tight. Like this, I think the writer, I can't remember his name right
Michael
now.
Waldron. Michael
Thank you.
Waldron. He came from Rick and
That made
Morty.
all the difference, I think, for this show.
He
Was
is, and
Waldron,
he wrote Doctor Strange, the final draft of Doctor Strange 2.
and
Uh,
he's been a writer on Rick and Morty, I think, if
yes,
I'm not
absolutely.
mistaken.
He is a writer on Rick and Morty, as well as the writer of Quantum Mania is a writer, and Rick and
Oh
Morty deals
wow,
with parallel universes, and
yeah.
so Marvel was genius for grabbing these guys who already have a very good concept. Because I love Rick and Morty, so
Hmm.
Michael Waldron did a bang up job. Like the level of writing on that compare, and don't get me wrong, I love WandaVision, I love Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They're great, but it's really like, oh shit. Like when you see what he did with Loki,
The gap is huge.
the gap is it's pretty bad. When you look at the gap, you're like, wow, this
I'll say this now, Jack Schaefer. I can't remember if she was a showrunner for WandaVision, but I know she was the head writer.
she was
Uh,
the head writer, yeah, because like
she
the
was
Disney
from
Plus
Agents of
shows,
Shield.
yeah, and the Disney Plus shows don't really have runners. Like Kevin Feige is in charge of it all, so they don't really have
Okay,
showrunners. They have like head
okay,
writers. But yeah, she was from Agents of Shield, and WandaVision, I think, was really a victim of the pandemic because they said they were still editing the last episode like 24 hours before it came
yeah.
out. And they changed stuff. They've recently
Well, they
changed stuff.
took Doctor Strange out, and that was a big. That was more of a problem for me than the Quicksilver boner.
Yeah.
Because
I
him not being at least showing up at the end, or at least if you don't want him, that's why I hated Kevin Feige's explanation why the white mansplaining. I thought that was just, I won't even touch that.
that was a
But
rehearsed answer by far.
yeah, I think it
Yeah.
was like made up answer
Oh,
actually,
it was. It was.
and I think that they could at least put him, even if it was astral projection, contact the Wanda and the after credit scene. Because have you heard about the CGI that they CGI'd his astral projection into the end of WandaVision now?
They
It's like
added
hard
more
to spot,
trees.
but it's there.
Yeah, no, you can see him drifting into her cabin,
Yeah.
and they added more trees to make it. Because I think when we pick up with her in Multiverse of Madness, that's
Hmm.
going to be the scene, and we'll see him drift in, and his astral projection will probably meet her astral projection, and it'll be like, "Where
Now,
the
if
hell are
they
you
do
going,
that,
Star Lord?"
that helps me a lot
A lot, a
for
lot,
WandaVision for me. I know it's a
absolutely.
small, well, maybe it's not small to me, but maybe I'm nitpicking. I don't know.
It literally the stuff that they took out, and the writers talk about this, and once again, Loki had the ability to be released after the pandemic had
Yeah.
pretty much got more under control. So they had more time, but with WandaVision, they're rushing to get it out. They were mentioning, that Senior Scratchy was supposed to
Hmm.
turn into a big demon and have this battle with Boner, the kids, and Monica Rambeau. Mm-mm-mm.
Hmm.
So they had
Monica Yambo.
yeah, yeah. Woo. Monica Cake Bow. Oh my God.
Man.
I'm like, I'm about to be
Woo.
a villain. Woo. Um,
Man.
but yeah, that was I think and same thing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They had to reboot a lot of the
Oh, the
storyline.
pandemic really that hurt. That
It
I mean,
hurt
Falcon and Winter Soldier the most.
big time. They scrapped the whole storyline, a whole subplot because it was going to be a virus subplot. That was in the containers, and then they changed it in post to make it
Hmm.
antidotes and things of that nature.
Because you could see in that scene, one of the first big action scenes where they're fighting on the semi trucks, and
Right.
Bucky goes in the back, and he says, "What are they, transporting or stealing?" He said, "It's vaccines."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that scene with Mama Donia or whatever
Yeah.
her name
Mama Donya.
was,
Uh-huh.
she was like dying or whatever it was, and they did, I forget what it's called in like filmmakers speak or terminology, but they did a voiceover.
ADR. Yeah, it's
ADR.
yep. And
Yeah.
they did the
They
recording. Yep. And
and
you
so they
saw the
changed it.
gaps. Yeah, a lot of and she's a pretty big actress, the one that played Mama Donya, to
So
cast her
they
to lay as
totally
a
cut
corpse.
her then.
Yeah, to just lay her as a corpse. You're not gonna hire someone of that level to just lay there as a corpse. So I think it really suffered from that. And it was a little cheesiness in the fact like the thing he was like, that's not Black Falcon, that's the Captain America. And I was like, oh man,
I did like the first time when he's like, "Oh, that's Black Falcon, the little kid." Now I
yeah,
thought that was great,
that was great.
but
That was great.
at towards the end that line was kind of cringy a little bit. I mean, I still laugh, but
I definitely let and the fact that Sam and I'm not going to be too critical because
mhm.
that really is his. People forget that when they discovered him, or when Steve discovered him, he was helping PTSD soldiers. So he's good at talking, and so it made sense. But the fact that he
Yeah.
kind of just chastised the government into doing the right thing on camera
Oh
was
well, yeah. That whole speech was too lengthy for me, kind of, and
somebody was
it
like,
was just
"Shut your
really
black
on the
ass up."
nose.
Yeah, somebody definitely been like, "Shut your black
Yeah.
ass up." So I didn't really care for that, but
Yeah, I didn't either. It felt like to me it tried to push some political. It was just it was too heavy handed. I'm trying to find the right words. I mean,
yeah, that's
I agree with the issues they were trying to tackle, but you can let's show it instead of, you know what I
show
mean,
don't
say
tell.
it.
Yeah, show
Yeah,
don't tell. Good writing,
show
you
don't
show
tell.
it. You don't tell it.
Yeah,
Now
that's good writing.
that's good
You're right.
writing. But now with Loki, oh man, it's so much good. Number one, shout out to Tom Hiddleston.
Oh yeah. I
Tom,
mean, wow. Tom Hiddleston, man. I woo. He already was one of the greatest, I think, actors in the entire MCU. Is like character wise,
I
and
agree.
he's got a strong, solid fan base. But I mean, he went beyond the villain trope, and I mean, he showed some like serious humanity
Honest,
as Loki as a character
I
in
would
the
not
show.
I would not be angry with Loki taking in this phase almost a Tony Stark like role. Because if you think about it, him and Sylvie, and my theory is that he just went to, and I'm jumping around, but my
Hmm.
theory is at the end he just went to an alternate universe, and that's why that Mobius didn't
Yeah,
know him. But if it was really that they got rewritten, which is a certain possibility, and they don't know what's going on, him and Sylvie are the only people that know what's coming
yeah, in the entire multiverse.
in the entire multiverse. That puts great importance on him as a character. And
Hmm.
with them already announcing that Loki will lead into Spider Man, which leads into Doctor Strange Multiverse of
Hmm.
Madness, which leads into Quantum Mania, I think those are going to be the chapters in that storyline. I wouldn't mind Loki popping up at the end of those movies, like gathering the forces, like let me tell you what's going on and what's
Well, you
coming.
know what? We're skipping What If.
Mm,
What If
yeah,
is it's in August, right?
August 11th, if I'm not mistaken.
And they said they already came out and said that, oh, this is straight up MCU canon, and it's really funny how the multiverse has been opened up again, and then the next project you go into is the most as wild as you can get for like multiversal stuff.
Yeah, and Tom Hiddleston was on, I want to say Jimmy Kimmel, one of the late night shows, and they were talking about what if,
Hmm.
and he pretty much did confirm that this is kind of what happens. And I wouldn't be surprised that if we see end up seeing a live action version of, because they're making pretty much like the Guardians of the Multiverse with
Yeah,
Peggy
yeah,
Carter as Cap and Killmonger as like a good guy, and
yeah, because he
Black Panther.
saves Tony Stark.
He saves Tony Stark, and Black Panther as Star Lord, which obviously we can't do that anymore. But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see the live action version of those actors, because I believe everyone except for Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans came back to
Yeah,
do their
yep.
voices. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. It just leaves a lot of tasty opportunities coming up. So I think we both agree the writing was fantastic. The way that it was shot, the special effects. I love that
I
Disney
mean,
has
the
a pocket
special effects for Loki were, I mean, MCU movie.
easily,
I mean, it just easily level. I mean,
easily.
it wasn't lacking at all.
No, no, somebody broke the bank, but I mean, they
Well,
definitely.
I forget what they said uh per episode they spent on Loki, but it was the most on all the MCU shows, I believe.
I believe so too, because with only having 6 episodes, and I know they said each series had a budget of about 150 million, which is like what they pay for some of the earlier MCU movies budget wise.
Hmm.
It's hard to find any bad about Loki. If I'm
I don't really have any bad. I know it sounds like I'm shilling right now, like I'm just totally shilling, but I can't think of any bad really.
Man, I have to be completely honest with you. I like to be completely critical and forthcoming, and it definitely feels like I'm Marvel tap dancing. It hurts my spirit, but I can't find anything bad about it. The only thing that I could say was bad is that I needed 10 episodes instead of 6.
Yeah,
Like when the
the
credits
budget's not big enough to give me more episodes because that's
um
definitely I could have took 10 right
I could have took
easily.
I could have took 10, 13, 24.
Give me Netflix season, man. Give me 13.
Give me something. That end of the 6 episodes had me feeling real Dave Chappelle-ish. I was like, I need
Got
another
any more of them
episode.
episodes, man?
I was like, I need one of them episodes. I'll suck you. But yeah, it was amazing. Now, who would you say was the standout? Because there was a lot of standouts on that show. But who do you
Sylvie.
think stole it?
I mean, because we both know that Tom Hiddleston's going to bring it. I don't think he's ever brought it this hard in the MCU, though. I mean, this
No.
is his best performance in the MCU.
Honestly, to me, he's now entered that level of where I don't want to see anybody else replace him, which is
Oh
amazing
no,
because they replaced him
no.
like 60 times in the show with all the variants.
If you're gonna replace, if don't replace Loki, just have Kid Loki pick up,
Yeah.
the mantle or something.
I think we'll see him again in the Young Avengers as well, Kid Loki. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't think they set him up just to never see him again.
no. I wouldn't even be surprised if we don't see Old Man Loki again or Classic Loki.
It's definitely a possibility because the way he said he tricked Thanos. Come on now.
Yeah, and I love that because that was a lot of theories when people were saying, well, how did Loki, did Loki survive at the end of Infinity War? And I love how they took that fan theory and made it canon that yes, there was a
Wow.
Loki that did that. So that was awesome.
To me, that's why I'm so confused. Is not to bring up WandaVision again, but with what they gave us with Loki, they built it up with the Easter eggs. Like they Easter egged the crap out of us that Mephisto was coming in WandaVision, and then it's just it's like no boner.
yeah,
I
and
mean, Loki just that was like one of the most satisfying season finales I've ever seen, and most of the episode was them sitting there talking across the desk.
I've watched this episode now, and it's been out 44 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched episodes 5 times now, and it's 40 minutes roughly of footage. Of those
Mm-hmm.
40 minutes, 33, if I'm not mistaken, are just them sitting at a desk. And I could have
Wow,
watched that.
I could watch it over and over, man.
If he wanted to talk for a whole hour, I'd have been like,
Oh yeah, tell me more.
tell me more. And I love how they
Wow.
didn't give his name, even though we all knew who it was, the slyness of how they
Yeah.
did that. It was amazing. Sylvie was definitely a standout. I had never heard Sophie DiMartino, I believe is her name. I'm not too
Yeah, I've
familiar.
never seen her before, but man, she nailed it, man.
Killed it. And
I think what really brought it home was the natural chemistry between her and Tom Hiddleston. Like, I mean, they
yes,
just wow.
I've never shipped, especially in Marvel, because they really don't do the whole love thing in Marvel. Like when they tried to
Hmm.
hook up Bruce Banner with Natasha, I thought that was completely
Oh
left
God,
field. And I'm
please
like,
don't
didn't
bring
he
that
try
up.
to kill her in the first movie? Like when
Well,
he turned
my
into
thing
Hulk,
is, where's Betty?
where's Betty?
I mean, Iron Man gets to bring Pepper Potts along into the Avengers movies and stuff. Like, where the heck is Betty?
Betty, and
I
everyone
think they
knows
just want to avoid Incredible. They just act like that's like the bastard child of the MCU.
it definitely is. It's so funny how they never really talk about it, but they'll bring Abomination back, they'll bring Ross back, but they don't
Yeah.
bring Betty or any of the leader. Although
Well,
I
that's
wouldn't
what's
be,
so good about Loki. Not to interrupt you, is all that can be explained by the multiverse now.
it gives Marvel the biggest get out of jail card. And we had talked a little bit
It's
offline.
perfect.
I would love, there's a couple things I would like to come from this. I would love for them to acknowledge that this isn't the same Rhodes or Hulk, and they could blame the multiverse in that, like, oh, that was a variant, and Kang slid him in. I would love to not only see that, but I would love, and I've heard it's rumored, don't know how
Mm-hmm.
true it is, Tom Cruise Iron Man.
Oh,
But not just any Iron Man,
he's
Tom
like
Cruise
evil.
superior Iron Man.
Oh
You remember
yeah, when he was the
the white,
Axis
when he
thing and
had
he
the
was kind
white
of flipped.
armor, and he had the all
Oh,
white armor, and he had used what was the they did in Iron Man 3?
it's like extremist tech or
Extremis.
something.
Yeah, he used extremis on himself, and then it made him like super vain. It made him even more vain and even more. So I would love for in Multiverse of Madness, Strange, Wanda, his little crew. I know it's going to be America, Chavez, Wanda.
Mm-hmm. I even heard there was going to be a variation of Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I've heard they're bringing Nicolas Cage back for a variation of
Wow.
Ghost Rider.
Please. Yes,
So
please.
if you have all of those characters and you have this team and they're hopping the multiverse, I could see Strange saying, "We need someone smart. Let's find an Iron Man." And can you imagine them going into Earth 324 or whatever, and they go to Stark Tower, and you see that armor from the back, and it turns around, and the mask open up. It's Tom fucking Cruise.
Can you? I mean, people, there'll be a meltdown in the theater
with the goatee. I think it would do awesome, and I don't want to see RDJ back in the flesh. I would love to see him
as
in
the AI that mentors
AI in
Riri.
Ironheart and Armor Wars.
That would be so dope, man.
That would be perfect, and that's something they could pay him a little bit less. They don't.
Yeah, dude, he's just doing a voiceover.
Doing a voiceover, and then they could literally, use animation, put a digital Tony.
Mm-hmm. Well, they did it. They did it in Endgame.
Yeah,
I feel like that was a total Easter egg for Ironheart.
I agree. I definitely think that's an Easter egg for that, and then the scholarship that he gave to MIT in was it home? No,
Civil War.
Civil
Yeah,
War.
that was another one.
That's another one. So that was 2016. I could see her being blipped and being a student there and getting that grant.
And then she's back.
Wow,
that's perfect, man.
It's perfect. There's so many ways.
Perfect.
So many ways they can go with that. And then I want to see a real alternate universe Robert Downey Jr. in Secret Wars. The moment
see, that's what Secret Wars is you can bring back everybody.
Everybody. Including
everybody.
You're gonna see Hugh Jackman. I could see us seeing because I want us to have our own.
Well, he teased lately. He teased some kind of comeback or something. And he was taking pictures with Kevin Feige and posted a Wolverine claw on his Instagram by Boss Logic. Yeah.
And we know for a fact because Patrick Stewart, he came out and said
they approached him.
They approached him and was like,
Kevin Feige approached him about doing something.
So with the multiverse, you can have.
He turned it down, if I remember right, though.
He said he did turn it down, but Jonathan Majors said he wasn't in Loki.
Exactly. It's been a few years now where they just lie through their teeth.
Yeah, they don't even try anymore.
Yeah, they don't even try to dance around it.
Tatiana Maslany, I believe, who's playing She-Hulk, she was like, Marvel? No, I've never even heard of Marvel.
I'm not She-Hulk. What are you talking about?
Not She-Hulk. What is that? And 2 days later, they were like, she is She-Hulk. So
official.
Just like Toby and them haven't confirmed when everyone knows they're going to be in Homecoming. Like,
they're in it. Stop playing. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
Big cap. They're like, no one believes. It's not even a good lie anymore. It's like
it's the worst kept secret on the internet.
The worst. Jamie Foxx was the first one that fucked it up because he was just like,
he just came straight out. Yeah, him and Tyrese.
Yeah,
Tyrese, he's like, oh yeah, Morbius. He said it like a year or two ago. He's like, yeah, Morbius in the MCU.
He's like, we're in the MCU now. Kevin Feige's looking at him like,
he's like, man, I got snipers on standby, bro. Chill.
He better ask Terrence Howard. He keep running his mouth movie come out, it'll be Ludacris in the role.
Ludacris will be replacing Tyrese.
I thought it was Tyrese, and Ludacris was like, "Move,
Oh
bitch,
man, yeah, you
move,
better chill,
vampire."
bro.
Now, I, just like I couldn't find any bad, I don't know if I could find any ugly about Loki.
Yeah, if there's
Uh,
no bad, there ain't no ugly.
there's no ugly, there's no bad. It's just good, good, and good. Um,
It's so good. I can't wait till the next season.
right.
That's the bad. That's the only
That
bad
that
to
is
it.
the bad and that is the ugly because they're like season 2, but when? I can't
Yeah, see, you have no idea.
I can't imagine it's going to be anytime in the next year. It's going to be at least
Oh
2
no,
years from now,
it's got
easily.
to be after Multiverse of Madness.
It has to be. It has to be
It has to
because
be.
we have just in this year, I believe there's 6 more Disney Plus products. We have What If, we
Hmm.
have Hawkeye,
Yeah,
we
Yelena's
have
in that.
yep. I think She-Hulk comes out at the end of the year.
Hmm.
Um, and is Moon Knight at the end? No, Moon Knight's
I think. Yeah,
2022.
I think Moon Knight is after that, though, isn't it? It's like the
Yeah,
next project after that, I believe.
I think I had a list. Let's check this out. But there's a lot of Disney Plus products that are.
Because basically, there's only a few weeks, a month at the most, I think, in between Disney Plus and Marvel movies. Like, there's always going to be a a project out.
Yeah, pretty much. I think there's like a 2 week gap between Loki and What If, and
Okay.
then it it's like it's literally they give, and even then, like I think this week they're gonna have Disney Plus does that review, so they'll kind of recap the whole season of Loki, and then we'll
Okay.
wait 1 week, and then there'll be I think there's 10 episodes of What If that'll take us all the way to September.
Oh, and not to interrupt you, but before I forget, they just confirmed Haley Atwell's Peggy Carter is going to be in a Multiverse of Madness as Captain Carter.
Nice. So that proves that What If is canon.
Oh
So
yeah, they said it's canon ahead of the show. They said
yeah,
it's definitely MCU canon.
so we're definitely gonna see some of those characters, and I mean the options for Marvel right now, it blows my
Any
brain.
mistake they've ever made can be changed and fixed by the multiverse.
Absolutely, as long as I think the story for this will wrap somewhat in Quantumania, but I think at the end of Quantumania, we're gonna have a new because now with the lineups, you can explain mutants, you can
Oh
explain
yeah,
the Fantastic
now they
Four.
can just retcon the entire history of the MCU
They were there the
and
whole
start over.
time. Yeah, now to this new multiverse, people develop differently. Boom, they were there the whole time. I'm curious to see how Shang-Chi, which comes out this year, and Eternals, and I know I'm pronouncing Shang-Chi wrong. I keep saying it wrong. But Eternals, I'm curious to see if that's going to have any impact with what happened in Loki. Because the thing about Loki, when is this going on? Because the way that the TVA works, to Loki, it's been like a week.
Oh yeah, well see, that's the thing with the Loki show is that it's outside of time and it's hard to comprehend. But if they reset, see, we still don't know exactly what they did by killing Immortus and allowing it to branch and everything because it could have reset the timeline or multiple timelines or they could just pick up anywhere.
Yeah, I think it definitely did because if you think about it, how he explained it, the multiversal war was definitely real. But because the
Hmm.
TVA and Immortus's castle, the Citadel, is outside of time, to him, he's almost like a fourth dimensional being. So time
Yeah.
is just a circle to him. So he
Yeah.
can see. That's why he was like, I know what's going on. I know what's going here. And when he said, "If you kill me," I think he knows that restarts the cycle. Because if you notice, he said, "This will be a fresh start." Oh, it feels
Well,
like a fresh start.
he at the same time he like he told Loki said, well, and now you're just gonna sit there with all this freedom and give up control. And when his response was, I'm tired.
I'm
I'm
tired.
tired and I'm older than I look. So
Right.
to me, I felt like he was ready to die, but he didn't want to commit suicide by proxy either. He just wanted to be able to live in the moment again. And
Right.
like he said, it felt like he said it was a fresh start before she killed him or stabbed him.
Yeah.
So he basically what he wanted was either you kill, like he said, you kill me or take over, be my successor.
Right.
And
Right.
like you said, and then you said again with them killing him, and I didn't really think about this until you just said that it completely reset everything.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what he said. At the end of the day, I'm just going to end up right back here. If you don't take over, what's going to happen is, and as we can see, there's a new TVA, but with not the kindler, gentler Immortus, and
Yeah.
Jonathan
Now,
Majors
now it's Kang, the mother effing
the
conqueror.
Conqueror. Exactly.
I'm just
And
letting you know out the gate. I'm coming here busting heads.
and I think he's going to portray it differently. I think each version will be
Well,
completely
he's just
different.
going to be a straight up villain.
A straight
I
up
feel like
villain
he's just
here.
going to be a straight up mustache twirling villain in a good
Oh
way.
yeah. Oh yeah. And I would love to see him, go back as Rama Tut. And I was glad they actually cast a African
A black
American
man, yeah.
black man so we could actually have a black Egyptian. But I would love to
Man,
see him
that
go
right
back.
there is just, oh man,
Beautiful. I would love to see him go
Marvel.
back and introduce a real apocalypse, not that purple thing from
Yeah, give me like a 7 foot black man as a apocalypse.
yeah.
I need if Michael Clark Duncan was alive,
Oh
that's my
man.
apocalypse right there.
Oh man. He would actually have been a perfect apocalypse. If The Rock wasn't such a bad actor, he's got the size or something like that of an
Yeah, he's got
apocalypse.
it,
But I
but he
think
doesn't. He doesn't have the,
range.
like you said, the chops,
He doesn't have
the
the acting
acting
chops.
chops.
No, no.
I
Especially
don't
if
want no campy apocalypse. I want somebody who's gonna give me nightmares.
no, 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 not at all. And I think what they're gonna have to do is kind of how they did Thanos. You get a really good actor and then just digital. The technology is so good. Like Thanos, I forget. I've seen Infinity War probably 50 times. I forget it's
Yeah,
completely digital. I'm just like
I
Thanos is a
do.
yeah. I'm like he's a hella
Yeah.
actor, and I'm like, oh wait, this is technically a cartoon.
Well, see, that's where they screwed up with X-Men Apocalypse. They tried to go practical, and they had this little midget man
Yeah,
as
same guy that's
Apocalypse,
playing
man.
Moon Knight was
Man, come on,
Apocalypse. Isaac
bro,
Oscar Isaac is 5'8". I'm bigger than
stop it,
Apocalypse.
stop it.
He's like 173 pounds. Like I love Oscar Isaac. He's a great actor, but I would
Yeah,
slap
he's a
the shit.
phenomenal actor. I'm never gonna take that away from him.
No, he's a phenomenal actor, and I'm excited for what he's going to do at Moon Knight.
Have you
But
seen Ex Machina?
I've seen Ex Machina at least 16 times. It was
That's a movie right there.
masterpiece, masterpiece. So I think we both give Loki just the best scores that we can give. It's a phenomenal show. Acting, cinematography, writing, cast.
I gotta give it up to Jonathan Majors though, man. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
because Tom Hiddleston ain't no slouch, man, and this man
no.
came in there and took. This was his episode.
Oh man, let me tell you, Tom
I mean, he
Hiddleston.
carried it.
Yeah, if that was a fight, Tom Hiddleston got. I would have had to hit him with the "you got knocked" because
Oh yeah.
every scene, Jonathan Major was.
I mean, this is my show. It's
My
the Kang
show.
show now.
Loki, he pulled out the eraser. He was like, "Nah, it's Kang, mother sucker." So yeah, he killed it, and there's
He
really
did.
not anyone in the MCU that can really rock with him as far as his ability. Um, he's young. he could be the big bad for the next 8 years if they wanted to. I don't think they're going to stretch it that far.
No. Well, see, Kevin Feige said they're going to have these like little mini arcs.
Yeah, yeah,
And, you know what I mean? And you're going to have these um, worldly arcs and like street level, Earth arcs, and then you're going to have your cosmic level, arcs and everything. And so it's like you're going to have all these little mini stories being told. And so I figured, like you said, he'll be like a villain for like a 3-4 movie or show, add the show in there kind of arc.
absolutely, absolutely. I think by the time we get back to Loki season 2, which I believe will be at least 2 years down the line, the
Mhm.
storyline will with Kang may wrap there. Um, in like the final battle between Kang and Loki, and God knows where they can go with that. I almost, I wonder if Loki's going to be in Love and Thunder, at least a cameo, because I'm curious to
No,
see
no,
how.
they said he's in there.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
I
At least I'm
I
excited.
heard that or read that somewhere recently that he's in there, and Sif is in there.
Yeah, I know Sif is in there. I can't
Yeah.
imagine a reunion between him and Thor because at this point it'll probably be a little bit down the line because remember he died in Infinity War, which
Well,
was
my
5 years.
question is this our Loki and he escaped in the same way that old man Loki did, or is this going to be our Loki from the Loki show?
So it's going to be our Loki. I feel it's going to be our Loki from the Loki show.
I
But
hope it is.
if you think about it, that Loki is kind of like the same Loki. He's not a variant where he's like alligator Loki or anything like that.
No, no, no.
He was 100% the same and then just removed in 2012. So
He
he won't.
just he came full circle by the end of the show, but not. He came more full circle, I think, than the Loki in the main MCU.
Absolutely.
And but at the same time, they both kind of took on a more heroic persona.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this one even more so because they both, the interesting correlation, they both, once they accepted the companionship of their family, once he accepted Thor, we don't have to be enemies. You are my brother. Once he accepted Sylvie and Mobius as a friend and didn't feel so alone, it's really a tragic backstory when you think about it. He has an
Yeah,
absentee father. He was adopted and not told that he was adopted.
and
He
he's
was
always second best.
always second best. In the very first Thor, he literally says, "Both of you were born to be kings, but only one of you will be." And he's telling you right there, you're never going to be king. It's going to be Thor. And
Well,
if
he
you're
wanted
asked,
him to be king of the Frost Giants,
right, and he was born because he was Loki's son, so he
so
would.
they
That's
could make peace.
right, right.
Yeah.
But Loki didn't want to have that. But the character development that he had in this 6 episodes was more development than he had in 8, 9 years in the MCU.
That's powerful that a 6 hour show can do that.
It's crazy, and it transformed him to right now. Loki is one of my favorite heroic figures left in the MCU.
Oh yeah,
Um,
easy.
without T'Challa, and I don't know what they're gonna do with that. I'm curious. I've written about 5 treatments that I think they could do. So
I feel like they're gonna go by this like inspiration from the source material because
yeah,
they already said they're not recasting, so it's
right.
got to be Shuri. It
I
has to
feel,
be. She's the only heir to the throne.
yeah, I feel it's gonna be Shuri, and I feel Shuri's going to be the leader, and she's going to make like a Black Panther force with like M'Baku is a Black Panther.
Oh, like you know how the war dogs are
Yes,
in the comic books? They're all like kind of like mini Black Panthers.
right,
They have
right.
their suits aren't as good as his, but man, they're damn good.
They're damn lethal. And so, I was good. I wanted to bring up where we think of the future, and I think it's a perfect spot to end the episode. Where do you
Hmm.
think they're going with Black Panther? Because that, to me, that's the
Okay.
one movie that has so many options to go, so many ways that I wanted to go. I
It's
haven't
got
been
big shoes to fill after
big
that first
shoes because
movie, and Chadwick passing, man. I'm
yeah,
really nervous.
I'm really nervous because it's a lot of ways it can go wrong. A lot of ways, and I don't want those
And they're
characters
going big from what I'm hearing. I mean, they're going like
all in.
war with Atlantis or
Yes,
Latveria or something. There's supposed to be Doom
Atlantis.
and Namor in it.
Yeah, and that would make perfect sense. I could see Doom behind the scenes as like this
Well,
Machiavellian villain.
I feel like he's going to be the one manipulating
Yes.
them, Atlantis and Wakanda, met possibly going to war, or he might be behind the coup. Because what I just recently read that Namor is going to try to get help from Wakanda for some reason because Atuma and I forget what other Namor villain are both in the movie.
Yeah, they've already been cast. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Atuma is like his arm, like
Yeah,
Aquaman's
he's
arm.
exactly, yeah, the family
Yeah,
member that wants the crown for himself. Yeah,
yeah, so basically like that. Yeah, I think it
yeah.
was Atuma and maybe
Oh,
oh
the
man,
female, her name is
no, Norm,
Nam.
it's
It's like Namor but famous,
Normita.
like Namora or something like that.
Yeah, Normorta or something like that.
Yeah, it's like she
She's like his
Namor.
cousin, I think,
Yeah,
or
she is.
niece in the comics.
Yeah, I think she's like his first cousin, like
Oh,
like
yeah.
daughter of the prince of or something like that. But yeah, I could definitely see that. I know Martin Freeman said the script is weird. So um,
That's the kind of throwing me off. That could be, like you said, he could just be saying, you know what I mean? Like it
right.
might not mean what we think it means.
Yeah, yeah. It's a couple of things. I definitely feel Shuri, especially, she has obviously she's the smartest person at this point. I think she's canon as the smartest person in the MCU,
Yeah.
at least
Well,
until
other
Reed
than Kang.
Richards. Yeah,
Now, other than
let me tell
because
you.
this man's got he. I'm gonna say, besides the way he played the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where he played it, when he started telling him like his background about being a scientist, he was giving me like comic T'Challa vibes.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Where he's
That's what
just
I was
like
getting.
he he would have been a great T'Challa if they had never
Oh man, could you
cast
believe that? Imagine that? He's
they had
the
never.
only person I can think of that could step into that role behind Chadwick.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I had
And him and the dude from Tenet,
David Washington, uh,
John David
John
Washington. Is
David
that his name?
Washington. Yeah, there you go,
Yeah,
Denzel's son, which
I
would have
need
been
him in the MCU too, man.
in a heartbeat. I would love him as Blue Marvel.
Ooh,
I would love him as Blue Marvel. I think he has a
okay.
gravitas that can do that, especially if they're kind of doing it like Captain Marvel. Because I understand Blue Marvel is supposed to be in the Marvels, so it's not just Miss
Is
Marvel.
he? So
Yeah,
Adam Brashear might be in the movie,
exactly. So it's not just
bro.
Miss
If
Marvel.
he's in that, bro, I'm gonna what?
Yeah, it's not just Miss Marvel. It's not just Captain Marvel. It's not just Monica Rambeau, who's also Captain Marvel, but it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be Blue Marvel as well. So it's the Marvels, all of the Marvels. So
I don't want to make it string us out too long, but have you noticed how it's only her second movie and she's like second billing now?
I've noticed it because she was so wooden in that role, and
Yeah.
I know she can act. I've seen her in other movies where she can act, and I think that's one of the reasons they changed directors
Well, and
because
then she's had a lot of controversy with
right,
her comments, and I guess she didn't. A lot of the like original Avengers cast didn't really like her that much. It seemed.
yeah, I've heard those
I don't know.
rumors, and I also heard she wanted top billing moving forward. She wanted kind of like that Robert Downey
Yeah, oh yeah,
Jr.
she was like throwing her weight around like
laid
she'd been
around.
an OG Avenger or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at all if they did the Rogue storyline and made Rogue one of the villains, and you see Rogue get her powers from just draining her to near death, and then the
Hmm.
other Marvels have to help.
Yeah, and then she like comes back later
Yeah,
or at the end or something.
and maybe a little powered down from having, because they made her far too powerful, in my opinion. How she was just one shotting Thanos'
I
ship.
mean, she's like Goku.
Yeah, and I don't get it because I'm like, that was one thing that I just never understood about the Marvel. The Tesseract did everything they needed it to do from phase 1 through 3. One time it was a power source.
Yeah,
Then one,
I was really confused. It's supposed to deal with space, so what?
it's
Why is it giving her the powers that the Power Stone should be giving her?
and what made her so special that she was able to absorb it. It made sense with a Kree because Krees are more powerful than humans. She was just
Well,
a human.
I feel like they screwed up because in the comics, since they didn't like the woman getting their powers from a man thing anymore, they just did a recent retcon and they said her mother was Kree. So she was already a half Kree, and that's why she was able to survive the explosion of the Psyche Magnetron or whatever it's called. And
Yeah,
and then Captain Marvel stepped it in to shield her, and that all that led to her developing her own powers.
merging their DNA, and the whole pink Kree. I don't even like the pink Kree. I'm like, you mean white people? Because that's what a pink Kree is.
Well, in the MCU, yeah,
It's just Jude Law. I'm like,
it's white with weird eyes or
yeah,
something.
you just look at the big blue ones in like Agents of Shield and Ronin, and then they're like the pink Kree, and it's just a little skinny balding white dude, and I'm like, yeah, why is he so powerful? I don't get it. That's just Jude Law. He has a real bad hairline.
I mean, they
Uh,
basically made her more powerful than base Thor. I mean,
yeah,
it's King Thor or whatever he is now. I would say they're at least even if he's not maybe more a little bit more powerful than her. But with the axe, he could definitely put it to her. But
yeah. I've
she's
seen his
OP, man.
his new uniform, and it looks like he's going for the Thunderstrike Thor. I don't know if you saw it.
Ooh,
He has like the cut off leather
in
jacket
the
now
beard and all
and the
that.
beard, and he's huge.
Oh, I'm
Like
here for it.
he's the biggest he's ever seen. And I've
I'm
also
a big
heard
Thunderstrike fan. Eric
big
Masterson.
Thunderstrike, big Thunderstrike, and they said Jane Foster gets the Mjolnir from
Yeah,
a variant
different.
Thor. It's going to be a variant Thor, not our Thor, but a variant
Well,
Thor.
I feel like it's the hammer maybe from Endgame, right?
Um,
Did they take that back?
yeah, Cap took it back. He took it back
Okay, he took it back.
to where it
Okay.
belonged. But I think the multiverse is going to have, especially with Gore the God Butcher, I could see him killing a variant of a Thor that's coming to help.
I can't believe Christian Bale, man. Wow.
Shocked. I was
He's in a
ooh,
what?
ooh. If if he doesn't walk away with, if I don't leave Thor and Thunder, Love and Thunder, with at least putting him on the Thanos level, I'm going to be disappointed
Yeah,
because
because Gore the God Butcher is a monster. He's a
a
freaking
monster.
animal.
He's a monster, and I, with him, there's so many possibilities because if he has the Necro Sword, you
Then that
know,
means
you know
the
who's
King
not
in
too
Black,
far off.
baby.
The King in Black, and that's making my nipples hard just thinking about that. Oh
That's
my
one of
god,
the best event crossovers they've done in a long time
yeah,
in the
since
comics.
Secret War, in my opinion, since the I think
Yeah,
2015 Secret
I
War,
agree.
King of Black is by far the
I
most
totally agree.
oh man, and especially with this relationship, this working relationship with Sony. I don't know if Sony has the rights. He probably does because it's a symbiote god, so I'm sure Sony
Hmm.
has the rights. But I mean, with this multiverse, the door is just wide open. It's just wide open. But Triple B, man, I've had a blast. This has been fun as hell.
Oh, no doubt.
We're gonna have to do it again, man. Please let
We definitely got to do it again, bro.
absolutely, bro. Let the people know where they can find you. your social media details, Discord details, any details you want to get, share it with the people because, like I said, I've known you for a while, and you are. I love talking to Marvel with you because we're cut from the same cloth, man. We're cut from the same cloth. So
Yeah, because it's like I'll be thinking something, and before I even get it out, man, you done already hit it, man.
man, I want to work for. I would sell my left ball to just write for Marvel, man. Because that would be my dream job. Because I tell people that's how I learned how to read. I was reading at a college level when I was in third grade from comic books because I just used to
Oh
read.
yeah, when I was younger, it always would make me run to the like dictionary. What's that
Absolutely,
word mean? You know?
absolutely. Fine.
You can find me on Facebook, Tyler Schleyhan. My last name is SCHLEYHAHN, and also on YouTube. You can find me at the Bodacious Black Bat, and that's really kind of it right now.
Cool. Well, please give him a follow. We're gonna have him back. I'm thinking maybe when What If comes out, we'll catch back up and
Oh yeah.
chat on that, man, because I had a blast. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We love. So like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now.